There are a lot of people out there that get upset when people don't reciprocate what they put out there. For example, if you feel like you have empathy, you may get upset by people who are not empathetic back to you or empathetic towards others. If you're vulnerable, you may find yourself being disappointed when other people are not vulnerable with you. And that happens in relationships. But I'm here to tell you a way that I think you can rectify that. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling people for many years now, men and women who have been victims and or perpetrators of abuse. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about is like your inherent core values or, the positive attributes that you have about yourself. And a lot of times when people feel like, I'm a nice person or I have all these good qualities, right? You hear people say that, but I feel like I continue to attract dark energies that don't really respond to that, or people that just don't really respect what I'm doing or reciprocate what I'm doing. I think, for me, the kind of the way that I look at it is I look at it as like, all of us, we have inherent gifts, right? Your gift may be being vulnerable, maybe it's empathetic, maybe it's being, kind. I look at those things, those are like great attributes to have, right? Maybe you're always positive, you're able to see through the silver lining, and that could be your positive attribute, which it can be complementary or supplementary to other people in your life. But one of the things I always say about gifts is that I kind of look at it like you look at Christmas gifts a little bit, is that you have to make sure that you're giving your gifts to someone who, one, likes the gifts and appreciates it for its value, and two, can reciprocate it or at least come to you in a place where they fully support you and they understand the value of what you're giving to them. So for an example, and I'll give you a literal example. Like, many years ago, I learned how to knit, and I was so excited, and I was really thoughtful about, creating gifts, for my family, for my brother and sister, and my brother and sister. They did not like that. They want like store-bought gifts, right? So that's what they prefer. They do not want like, something that was made, that's not their vibe, And so they took it and threw it in a closet and did whatever else with it. And I was so like disappointed with it because I thought I was being thoughtful, by making something and not just running out into the mall and buying a material gift, right? But no, that's what they prefer, right? And that's them, right? And I kind of look at this the same way. Like if I'm vulnerable, I have to be around and share my vulnerability with people who can receive that and give that back to me. And so that's really sort of finding your tribe and aligning yourself with people that have that same value. But if you have people that are around you that are more or less like, I prefer superficial. So I prefer for us to get together, get dressed up and go to the mall and look good and like, flirt with people or whatever. That's someone that's like a good time, fun time person, but doesn't necessarily want vulnerability. And I'm just using a hypothetical example. And so you have to understand that that's the level that person can meet you at sometimes. Sometimes that works for you, sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes you might get to a place in life where like, I'm looking for something more. I don't really need, fillers. I don't really need people with stuff that I don't want. Like I want to be much more selective about the quality as opposed to the quantity of people. And sometimes you can say like, you know what, I will just, I can accept people for where they are, and I can, I can discern between friends and acquaintances and peers, like I have different categories for people, and I'm okay, just sort of, running a checks and balances system, and not, I'm disciplined enough that I can sort of divide my energy and act appropriately. And you have to figure out what works for you, and how much energy and time and labor that you want to spend. I find that the older I get, and this is just me, I'll use myself as an example. The older I get, the more my time is kind of spread very thin, because I work a lot, which is good, but it's also like, when your time is spread thin, your patience and things like that is also, for me, is spread very thin. So I prefer quality over quantity, any day of the week. And so you just have to figure out what works for you. And I feel like it's okay too sometimes if maybe you want to go through different phases. Like maybe you might feel like lonelier at times, and maybe you might feel like you want to get out and have some things to do. And so you may, your tribe may sort of shift and change a little bit, but you may have your constant staples. But whatever works for you. I thought I'd put that out there for you today. Like, comment, follow, and share. Thank you so much.